All right, welcome to Pacific Push on Taste Radio, Dash Radio, hottest in the beach, coldest in the streets. And today I have the pleasure of being with Chicago legends, Abstract Mindstate, EP the Hellcat, and Old School Ice Gree.
What's going on, Ogee Money?
What it do? What it do?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. The Polo, the low life, and the low heads are in the building.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Most definitely, all day, every day.
All right, so there's a lot of ground to cover, and I want to get straight to it. So, EP, take us back to Jackson State in the '90s, the beginning.
Oh man, for me, Jackson State in the '90s was freedom. As soon as I got to Jackson, I had the freedom of being myself. I hadn't, if you didn't see the documentary, but like I was afraid, or for whatever reason, I didn't tell my family that I was gay. And as soon as I got to Jackson State, I felt the freedom, and I had the nerve to get on the phone and call my mom and dad and both my grandmothers and to tell them I was gay. And like what Jackson, just moving and going to college in Jackson State represented to me was a start over, right? Because I spent so much time in high school and in grammar school not being able to be my true self. And that's what Jackson meant to me. That's what JSU meant to me. And I had already, that part of my life, I had already felt the freedom, right? And I was actually met Old School in Lee Majors on our way home to I think it was Christmas break. I'm just gonna say Christmas break. And I was sitting outside the train station depot on a bench, and these two guys locked up, beat it up. You know what I'm saying? They walking up to the train station or whatever, and they got all of these bags of liquor, G. And I'm like, it reminded me that I didn't bring shit, right? So I looked down at their bags and I'm like, I forgot my liquor, but I said it aloud. And Lee Majors heard me. He was like, "You didn't bring no liquor?" He held up the bags. He was like, "We got you. We got you." And like I say on the documentary, it's just kind of prophetic, because those have been my brothers ever since then.
That's a great story. And
that's a true story, G Money.
True story. So Gree, you were actually recruiting EP because you had your own collective at the time anyway.
Yeah, man, we had this collective called the Peace Posse, which was, we sort of like the Dog Pound. How the Dog Pound, when they first came out, they were like, everybody was the Dog Pound, but the group was Daz and Corrupt. That was the Dog Pound. So my crew was the Peace Posse, but my group, me and a brother by the name of Ant Chill, we were the Peace Posse. And so I was like collecting what I thought was like the best MCs that I came in contact with. And EP was just like an anomaly to me. I had never heard a female rock that hard or like spit in her flow or her cadence with the aggressiveness that she was spitting at the time. And I was like, yo, I want you to be down with the Peace Posse. And she was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was vibing with me, and her whole thing was, well, I don't really have any music. I don't have this, that, and the third. I was like, don't even worry about it. Cause I was already like heavy in the studio and knew how to do what we was doing. So I initially came into EP life, like grooming her as an artist. And it was more like a management space, like just grooming her and getting her right to be like one of the strong members of this thing that we had called Peace Posse. And, so the story goes, and we eventually ended up being a duo, but it didn't start off like that.
See, but hey,
we got levels. We got levels.
Yeah, and the rest is history, right? It was destined. And, during that era in the early 2000s in Chicago, even across the country, you were really lauded as like one of the important voices. And I know you inspired Chicago, acts like Crucial Conflict, many others. Yeah. But the big question is, why did you stop making music collectively?
Great.
Oh yeah, you mean okay? Well, Abstract. So what happened was we reached a point. Abstract, the life of Abstract Mindstate, or the story of Abstract Mindstate, I always like to liken it to one of my favorite things that I like to do in my pastime, and that's ride roller coasters. So the Abstract Mindstate journey became such a roller coaster ride. And what I mean was, it was so many ups and downs, and it was like these really high fun moments, but then it was these really low bad moments, and that was consistent throughout our run. And so it got to the point that as responsible individuals, we had to like make some decisions. And I specifically had like put so much of my life into the everything Abstract Mindstate was doing that my life was literally falling apart, because even unlike my partner EP, I let everything go and went straight into music. Everything about me, everything I did was music industry, entertainment industry. So I didn't have like, I mean, and the funny thing is, I have a degree in mass communications from Jackson State University with a concentration of broadcast production. And although I did work at a television station, a Channel 2 affiliate actually in Jackson, Mississippi called WJTV, I still was more into my music. So although I was great at that, and people said I had a future, and even told me I had a future in being a news anchor because I was really good on camera, but I was like, nah, it's about this music for me. So the stop came when we just had to make some decisions, or decisions had to be made, I should say, of my life versus this real rap for food thing that we were doing with Abstract Mindstate, because everything with that was a hustle, and I needed to make some money. So I kind of like transferred all my energies to the background of the music industry and started getting behind people that I saw were in the situation that would benefit the knowledge and skills that I had. And that's how I hooked up with Kanye.
No, that's a great answer. And, you know, we're trying to roll 20 years of history inside one interview. And obviously the fans and listeners, they're going to have to go back and check out the documentary when it's officially released. But 20 years later since releasing We Paid, Let Us In, we now have Dream Still Inspired, completely produced by Kanye on Yeezy Sound. So EP, what has been the biggest challenge for you in terms of returning to the music business?
I think the biggest challenge for me is like balancing my professional life with it now. Because for so long, like old school said, like that's what we did. But when he went his way and I went my way, I had to find my way and he had to find his. And mine, you know, consisted of actually getting my first bachelor's. He already had his. When I left Jackson State before I graduated. So while we were still rocking and making our bones, listen, I didn't have a degree. He did. And I've always been a school person, but the music, you know, I had got immersed in the music. And so I pretty much just let it go. And so for me, it was going back to school, getting my bachelor's in psychology, getting my bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies, getting a master's in ABA. And now that's what I was doing when we were presented with this opportunity, this unique opportunity. Now, for me, it's flying all over the country, you know, doing interviews right now, you know, rushing home from work so I can sit down and do this. So for me, it's like now I'm trying to balance it and giving everything the same amount of attention, you know, not letting anything suffer. So that's what it looks like for me now.
Yeah, I know you were balancing a lot. Even during the recording process, you were working on your master's, and it's very commendable. And
well, in the recording process, I had already got my master's.
A certificate. You was working on a certificate.
I was working on my BCBA certificate. I had to sit for the national exam. And during the recording, my father was making his transition. So that was another thing that I was balancing, you know, personal life, professional life, and now music.
Yeah, and it's a lot to deal with. So and then now I'm gonna ask you, Gree, you've been involved with so many aspects of Kanye's creative world, like you were A&R with Good Music, traveled the world with him, you know. So how was the process, right, different when you're putting together this project, because you were also involved in those 5 projects? I think it was 2018 where he was producing everyone, Tiana Taylor, Pusha T. So how was that different from the process that you went through with your own group?
Yeah, well, first of all, what was different, the most major difference was anything I contributed or presented to help creatively with those projects weren't for me. So the biggest thing about it was attacking it, it was no way to like really think about myself, you know. As a matter of fact, I had gotten so comfortable over the years of not thinking about myself that's pretty much how I operated. So doing that wasn't hard at all, but that's the big difference. Everything was about the focus is for somebody else. Now, on some cool stuff in recording with Kanye, he loves to get away from LA and stuff like that. So recording with him was great with all these other projects because we found ourselves in so many different places. Like the Kids See Ghosts project, we recorded and worked on that between Japan and China. We were in Wyoming for the Pusha T joint. For Tiana, we was in between LA and Wyoming as well, because Wyoming became a base. But we traveled all over the world, just feeling the vibes and working on these projects. And so that was a big difference, because I had never like traveled to like another country just to work on a record. You know what I mean? So that was a great experience. And even EP and I, we didn't even record our Dream Still Inspire in Chicago or LA. We recorded that, and a lot of it, well, not recorded, but the foundation of it was laid in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which was a part of Wyoming before Kanye bought all that land out in Cody, Wyoming. That's being sold now. But so it was even a different place than what everybody started knowing about Wyoming. That wasn't even that place. We were out in Jackson Hole, which was great. So that process, it was very different with the other people's, and even Kanye's record, because even we're working on some of Kanye's stuff, we went to Turks and Caicos to work, so a lot of the stuff that later it became Ye, but it was a lot of the work, it just went through a lot of transitions. But the Ye album, we worked on that in Turks and Caicos. So that was, it was just a lot of traveling, because again, Kanye likes to go to exotic, exclusive kind of private places. Oh, we also worked on it in Cabo. And so so it was just amazing. So I can say the biggest difference was on Kanye's tab, you're all over the world recording music. You know what I mean? Because he can afford to do that.
Well, that's going to lead me into my next question, and I'll pose it to you, EP. How arduous was the task of selecting 14 tracks from a pack of 300 beats from Kanye?
We have a process, and so what happened was, we were able to go through those and like separately, like we were at Old School's house, but separately we picked beats, and the ones that we had in common were the ones that we sat down at the table with, right? And so even those were a lot. So we had to go through the selection process, like, well, this one is this one is this, and this one is this. And we initially didn't come up with 14 or 13 or whatever. I think it was, what was it, Gree? How many was it?
We were trying to do 10 or 11. We were trying to do 10 or 11. Yeah. So we were trying to do a Nas, like the way Nas had Illmatic, and he just had like, I think it was like 9 or 10. We were trying to be like very like 9 to 10 records, and it didn't work out.
Gee, it was hard because they Ye beats.
Yeah.
So imagine what the stuff that we passed on, like, right? You know what I'm saying? That we just pushed to the side. Like, it was so many. It was so many, and everything was dope. But wait a minute, EP. The funny part was, because we started actually laughing at Kanye, because you remember every time we would say the record is done, he would come with a new beat. Yes.
He did that to us like three. He did that to us 3 times. At least 3 times he did that. And we just look at each other and we'd laugh. We like, man, every time we tell him we done, he'll say, hey, I got this one beat. And this is separate from the 300 they got dwindled down to 100. They got dwindled down. Yeah, these are separate. Like, he came with about 2 to 3 more.
These are beats that he had just made, like probably that day. It was sending them,
Well, the fans saw that. Like, he was releasing Donda and touching up the album for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that.
And you know what? You're right. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing with us.
So you know what? It's easier for people to swallow it now, since they seen him do it with Donda. They can understand that we not like making up a story, because he
Yeah,
just kept
yeah.
coming with tracks, and we like, yo, we're done, you know. But then we'll hit a track and be like, oh wow, like that's how he came to us with a Brenda song. With
Yeah.
the Brenda song
Yeah.
was not on the album. We were done with the album, and he was like, check this track out. I want y'all to, you know, see what y'all can do with this. And we heard him, was like, whoa, like
yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, like I have so many questions, and I'm going to keep going. So no, seriously, it's a lot to ask. But have you performed live since bringing the group back together?
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet. We're about
okay.
to embark. Yeah. And that's our strong point. That's what we're known for, our live show. Now we got a taste of just the energy of our live performance with these new songs.
Yeah.
When we recorded a few of those home performance joints that we're gonna be pitching to some of the you know how like Tiny Desk does the Tiny Desk home concerts. We recorded about 5 or 6 of those, so we got a taste of getting back in the groove again. And it was, I'll go ahead and compliment us and say, yeah, we still got it. Because it was like a live show, you know. Well, we had to perform like it was a live show, you know, although it was like on a couch or sitting on a chair or in the living room or whatever, but it was the same thing as the stage, you know.
Yeah.
No, I was telling EP
we
that
we can't wait.
Well, we're looking forward. I looked at a lot of old footage of you rocking, and it's great when you see like that 90s footage now, the VHS, and it's just really raw.
Yeah.
So
that good analog, like,
yeah. But even though the album is 14 tracks, it's only like 35 minutes long. So was it different for the writing process? Because, you know, back in that day, you getting 3 verses and long 4 or 5 minute songs. So was that intentional, trying to cut that down? How'd you go about it?
Listen, G, I was happy. I was happy it was only had to write 1 verse. I was so happy because the beginning
that was another Kanye idea.
Yeah, the beginning of the process for me was I had writer's block severely. It was rough. And so it was like, okay, we only have to do 1 verse. Yay. You know what I mean? So and I find now, like, if this album, Dream Still Inspired, because I listen to our shit. Like, I listen to it. And it's one of those albums that you can listen to straight through. And I believe it's the content, it's the cadences, of course, it's the tracks, but I think it's also the length of the album. And you get through with it and you like, shit, how long? What, 33, 30, whatever, man. And you play it again.
31.
And you play it again. You know, you let it run through again 2 times before you even realize that you've listened to it twice.
I agree.
Right.
And I enjoyed the listen. And, you know, it's really bar heavy and dense. So you want to be able to appreciate the content, but it's also soothing and you can just listen to it and no matter what you're doing, which is great music. So with that title, I do want to ask a question. I agree. Since the group's hiatus, a lot of artists and sounds have emerged from your city. Everything from like Chief Keef and the drill movement to Chance the Rapper, the late Juice WRLD. Do you feel that Chicago has finally recognized as one of the leading cities in the culture on the global scale?
Oh, 100% without doubt. I believe so, because at this point, a majority of the impactful rappers, regardless to the style of rap they're doing, is from Chicago. You know, I mean, you just named 3 that's looked at as this generation's giants, you know, and then we still have our legendary or legacy artists like the Kanyes, the Commons, and the Twisters. But yeah, man, Chicago is finally a part of this thing the way we always dreamed or hoped it would be, because it's such a huge amount of rap artists from Chicago, like that boy Polo G. He's from Chicago and he's super hot right now, you know. And then it's a few females, you know, like what's her name? I really like the dark skin. I can't think of her name. She dropped one part of her name and she just uses one part. But the point is, it's a bunch of them, you know. I mean, you know, right now I see Tink is out here doing her thing, you know, and she kind of raps and sings, you know, Tink and the other one, I forget her name.
Dirk
but it's
is having a hell
of
a year.
Yeah, Dirk is just, oh man, Dirk is having a Drake moment. You know, he's like on every track, on every song. You know, he's having what I would say his Drake moment right now. So I told him about that too. I got to talk to Dirk when he came out to Atlanta when we was working on an album in Atlanta. This was before anything came out, and Dirk came by, and I gave him his props. So I said, young brother, I said, you're doing your thing right now. And I dropped a couple of jewels on him and told him, I said, man, you know, right now, all eyes on you. You know, like I would like to suggest or say to you is, man, enjoy the moment, because I said, I remember I was there when Kanye said something prolific to John Legend. He said, you only get one time to be a debut artist. And I said, right now, this is your time. This is your moment. So just fully enjoy this, man. And he was like, man, I really appreciate it. He was soaking up the knowledge, but yeah, you know, it was cool talking to the young brother.
So EP, I know that you're both are big fans of groups like Tribe and De La Soul. Now, with your hiatus and you being away from music, do any artists from this generation, excluding Kanye, did they inspire you?
No.
Oh man, that was raw. I like that.
Like no, it's the truth. I like old school will tell you, like if you didn't come out in the late 90s or 90s or early 2000s, I'm not really checking for you. But I like Kendrick. I love Kendrick. You got to be special.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to be an anomaly.
J. Cole, you know.
You got to be an anomaly. Like you have to be an anomaly. Like I like Rhapsody. You know what I mean? I you know what I'm saying?
I was hoping that you'd say that one.
Rhapsody is crazy. Yeah.
But it's not. No, it's not. It's like, you know what inspired me, G, was the opportunity for the world, because of Ye, to hear what we've been doing for 25 years. That was my inspiration, and his motivation and his confidence in this project before I was even, come on. You bringing us back after 16 years. I haven't picked up a pen in 16. I haven't picked up a pen in 16 years to write a rhyme. I'm writing behavior plans.
Right.
So the confidence in us inspired me. Like that was enough. That was enough. I didn't have to listen to anybody to get inspired. I didn't have to, and my rap partner, who's always been the one who comes up with the concepts of the songs, who comes up with, the hooks of the songs for the most part, like 95% of the time, with a little sprinkle here and there from me, maybe, you know what I mean? But that was my inspiration and motivation, and almost like, okay, it's a formula we've always used. So that was it for me.
It's a winning formula.
And I think
no.
Go ahead. What you gonna say? My bad.
I said it was a winning formula.
Okay, the winning formula. Yeah, it was a winning formula. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Because it's funny, because in the spirit of what she was saying, the excitement was knowing, because let's just keep it 100. When we record, I like to say we'll rap for food. When you on a hustle, or you rhyming on your way up, and you just trying to make a name for yourself, you don't have no idea if anybody is really gonna hear it. You just have to believe enough until you push it to that point, because that's what it's all about having faith, right? And we knew, like, in doing this, and this is the first time it was like this for us, when we finish and it comes out, world is gonna hear it because of who's behind it and who's putting it out. So like she said, that in itself was the motivation. That was the inspiration, like knowing that, oh man, we finally get these ideas, past deaf ears, or past a small amount of ears, and it hits a worldwide stage. Because again, like, it comes up often in our interviews, like the biggest excitement for us was the people around the world responding to this record. Because in the beginning, the record was out overseas, like in Australia was responding before the United States, because the album wasn't out yet. It was already a day later in Australia. So our release date had happened. So we was getting bombarded with Australian love, you know, like, yo, we loving this. So it's just like, just to know that the world was going to hear it was the most special part.
Well, the story is very inspiring to me, and I was really looking forward to this opportunity to sit down with you. The project is amazing, the story behind it and everything that you have. The fans are looking forward to seeing you back on the road, on the stages. And, you know, before we get out of here and close out the social medias, when can we expect the documentary?
Well, the documentary won't be available for just public consumption until sometime in 2022, because it's being submitted right now to various film festivals. And so, you know, in order to keep our eligibility intact, we can't premiere the movie, we can't premiere the film. So that's why we've been having private screenings. So if those are fortunate enough to be a part of our small private screenings that we've been doing in various markets, you will get to see it, but it won't be until probably late 2022 that people will get to just like, you know, go to a link that we'll have available for you to like stream it and actually watch it. So, but by then it'll be so much around it, because that's the point. Like, it's a whole promotional vehicle being put in place now to build hunger, you know, to want to really hear this story, you know, or see it, I should say, because the documentary allows you to see the story and the people that were there to solidify that everything we've said and done was the truth.
Ooh, I hope the fans and listeners can really appreciate this. You know, we're doing this over Zoom, and I'm about to tap out the Zoom time, and we don't do that. I usually get to wrap it up, but they letting us go because they understand that this is very special, and I'm really appreciative of having you here and being able to share your story. So before we get out of here,
for sure,
let the fans know the social media. I know you're not a big fan of it, but the social media, how to get in contact with Abstract Mindstate.
Me is EP the Hellcat at IG and Danky Mitchell on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm Old School Ice Green, and I'll spell that on Instagram individually. I'm at OLSKOOL_ICEGRE. And the group is just at Abstract Mindstate, all together, no underscores, anything. And that's on
Ogee
IG
Money,
as well as Facebook. G Money.
And I'm Ogee Money, the host of Pacific Push, Taste Radio, Dash Radio, here with Abstract Mindstate, and the album is out right now.
Dream Still Inspired.
Yes, yes. We pay Let Us In, the Legend of Abstract Mindstate, coming soon.
Yep.
There it goes. Thank you.